Hello, everyone. My name is Danny Hakinen. Welcome to the Politics Unleashed podcast, where we unleash the right side of the story. I'm joined by Chris Badaluk, Michelle Badaluk, and Jesse Watson. Chris, how you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
We're on video now,
Oh, great.
and we have better audio.
We're fancy now.
That's right.
We're legit.
Yeah, we got $500 of equipment now.
Nice. Yeah.
So for our municipal episode today, we're going to be talking about the current budget that's been approved, look at some platform ideas from some of the winners. We did a random selection, and then we'll just kind of discuss what all that is. So for those of you who haven't been paying attention, City Council just passed a 6.9% budget increase.
6.9?
6.9. Was going to be 6.4, but they found another 0.5. So Jesse, you mentioned also in some of your stuff, supplemental budgets.
Yeah, okay. Were you guys following the budget at all?
Here and there. I was just flabbergasted by the irresponsibility and the entitlement of City Council altogether. So you're going to have to
But
fill us in.
they're all fiscally responsible.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
Should
sure.
we make
sure.
some kind of trade where we get Calgary City Council and we send them our City Council? Because 1.9 or whatever they're doing in Calgary sounds like a million times better than what they're going to do here.
Yeah, and they accomplished it by using some of the reserve fund because their approach was life's unaffordable. Let's keep the increase as low as possible.
So a lot of the councillors did say that it's the end of the last cycle. So it was inevitable. They're just kind of putting it down. But at the end of the day, a supplemental, every year you can go and you can fix things. So a lot of this budget actually was fixing. Fire halls were over budget. The on-ramps going on 137th Ave up in the Henday were over budget. 10 million here, 10 million there. But then there's a lot of growth. So they have kind of an operating side. They have a capital. There's operating impacts of capital. And then this is the point of the supplemental. So they debated it for a couple of days. So there's some key things. Net new, 25 million in buses. So basically they had on demand to an area like, is Good Ridding in your riding where you ran?
Sorry?
Good Ridding Ridge or something like that?
Not that I know of.
Keswick?
No.
No, okay. So there's some nice suburban places that they wanted to replace on-demand buses with permanent routes. So suburban, basically you bought an acreage and you get a bus.
Yeah. Isn't Keswick more towards Riverbend?
Yeah, maybe that's, yeah.
Yeah, so it's
way in
adjacent.
the south.
So in the last election cycle when Hamilton was running in 21, we actually lost buses. So we had dedicated routes in our ward, and we actually went to on demand, and it's been a shit show.
Have you ever called on demand?
No, I would hate to use the system. I actually figured I should at some point try it, but during this election, while in Wedgwood, which was one of the affected communities, I met an old lady. She was in her 70s, and she was distraught because she'd been waiting 45 minutes for her bus to show up, and she's like, I could just have, like, what am I supposed to do? I could have driven myself, but I've called for the bus. I don't want to miss it because if I miss it, I don't know if I'm going to be penalized for it.
Gotcha.
Right. So even she isn't aware of the pitfalls of the system. What are the costs if you don't actually, like with DATS, I don't know if you guys know this, but with the DATS system, if you call to book something, so this comes from a gentleman I met in 2021. So he's bound to a wheelchair, and he said, if I had a doctor's appointment and I set it up and went to go with my doctor, and then the doctor cancels, I can't call DATS to cancel. They'll say, no, we're going to pick you up. And if you don't show, that's a strike. And after so many strikes, you don't get to use the system. They penalize you because they want to have forced compliance. So we have people who are mobility bound, right? They have mobility issues. They're in a bloody wheelchair. Oh, well, hey, I don't need you to pick me up.
That's so unethical.
Nope, you got to do it.
So just so you know, they did fund more DATs.
Oh, good.
3 million more in the budget as well. Growth. So the key thing about the city, they often say growth versus renewal, right? So supplemental, the purpose of it is really about existing, right? You might have to touch up a budget or something, but they grew the budget a lot. So it borrowed from the future, things like that. Bike racks on some buses, right? They're replacing some of the bike
What
racks.
was that, 2 million or 3 million?
Yeah, 2 million there.
$2 million on bike racks.
Now,
That is insane.
Was that replacing bike racks?
Replacing and some new, yeah, to accommodate different styles, yeah.
Because we have summer all year long, and we have a very dense city, just like in Amsterdam. We're definitely not spread out. We definitely don't live in a winter city. Yeah, this totally makes sense, everyone. Are they smoking something at their meetings? It's just so out of touch.
Crystal meth, it's safe supply.
Okay, great. Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I think the answer to that old lady's question is always, if you have the option of driving somewhere in Edmonton or using public transit, drive. I
Absolutely.
mean, that's always the right answer in Edmonton. Just drive there.
Yeah.
It's
So that's
better.
what I found interesting is like we funded new buses, okay? So the whole council is essentially saying no new growth, right? We don't want to go suburbs; it's too expensive. But then we got buses to go to the middle of nowhere, and then I have a friend that lives by the zoo, and she wanted to take a bus downtown to go to work, and it was an hour and 40 minutes
Wait,
estimated by Google.
from the River Valley area?
Yeah, from
That should take no more than 15, 20 minutes.
so imagine rather than focusing on the existing network,
That's insane.
we're funding sprawled bus networks.
Oh my God.
I mean, there's no reason to take a bus.
Well, I
when
mean, some
when you
people-
have any other option, like
Right.
even if you call an Uber or a taxi or get someone else to give you a ride, it's always at least like half the time
Of course,
to
it's
get there. Like a bus is so slow. I mean, in
Right.
some cases, you might as well walk.
Well, no, I understand the reasoning behind it because obviously it's very cost efficient, but it's dangerous and it takes a lot of time. So it just all depends on your current priorities. But that's why I think it's hilarious that we're investing so much money in buses instead of more safety protocols to actually protect the people that are going to be riding the buses and the trains. Because as it stands right now, the crime rate is very alarming. Lots of people get stabbed, jumped, all kinds of things.
So let's talk about something there then. Which is more important, to grow out a system or to improve the efficiency or delivery of the system?
Obviously, improve. Every single time it's improve. You should only upgrade your system if the means are available to you. But if you have a huge deficit and it's led you to increase taxes by a substantial amount, that should be a clear indicator for you to back off and just work with what you can.
Yeah.
And just keep developing things and just making everything more streamlined and more efficient rather than pouring money into something and then, incurring like more costs in the future. That doesn't seem fiscally responsible or logical to me at all.
Well, when we start reading the platforms, you're going to find out that
Oh, I know.
fiscally responsible is
No.
not a thing these people comprehend.
Or
Well, if
logic
they were-
for that matter.
If they were fiscally responsible, they just shut ETS down. It loses money every year. So you might as well just shut down all the buses, shut down all the LRTs, and just turn it off. And that would be how the city could save a great deal of money.
I'm against that completely because a lot of college students need the bus to get somewhere. Lots
This is
of people.
hardcore, hey?
I know he takes it too far because some people they need to access they need to go to work, right? They can't afford their vehicle. That's why they just started their new job. So I think that we definitely should have buses and trains, but we should improve the safety and keep working on existing infrastructure, making sure everything is more streamlined instead of just throwing money at it and just to see what happens.
What do you think, Danny? Improvement or growth?
Well, so in 2021, I was all about improvement, and I still am. I don't even know how council or administration chooses and approves bus routes. So a theory that I came up with in 21 was take the city of Edmonton, make a map, overlay it with population density numbers, because as a city we should have that information, and then overlay that with registered vehicle data from the province to create hotspots of where all you have a lot of registered vehicles. And then, so what does that mean? Build a system. Who are your key customers? The people who don't have vehicles. So build a system that serves them. It's fast, it's efficient, it's available, it's right there. And then you can expand it out so that people like Chris, Michelle, or myself, or Jess, all of us that drive, if we chose not to drive, it's because the system's clean and efficient and it gets us where we need to be.
Right.
Because if it serves your core customer well, then all of us theoretically could become customers as well.
So,
Right.
Danny, unlike you, I did ride transit during the election. I did it on purpose.
I took the LRT. I didn't take the
Just for
buses.
the photo op?
Hey,
Yeah.
no, it was about improvement because I have a very close friend who works in transit, okay? And I'm a planner, so I think transit's important. I think, there are underprivileged who need
Of
transit.
course.
And there are gaps, and but I do think improvement's more important.
Mhm.
I just don't understand how a council can say we don't want growth, it's not sustainable, and then fund suburban growth of transit. It's like you're rewarding somebody who chose to buy a house in the middle of nowhere. I mean, I get it, but at the same time, the density is not there. It doesn't really meet the core objectives of what transit is trying to achieve. So I support transit, but not to that extent, right? I think it was growth probably unnecessarily.
See, but if we're going to have 15-minute cities that are walkable, as the city keeps telling us, why do we need transit? You should be able to walk everywhere you need to go.
Oh, that
Fair
sounds like a
criticism.
nightmare to me. I
Fair
don't wanna
point.
Talk about 15-minute cities. Oh,
Yeah, and that actually did not come up very often during the campaign, but that
that's
could
actually
be.
surprising to me because that was a hot button topic for a while.
No, more often than not, the question I would get from people is they'd look at my flyer, they would ask me about, bits and pieces here or there, but then they'd ask me, how do you vote provincially? How do you vote federally?
Oh my God.
Right?
Okay.
Like, so long as I align with their voting practices, then it doesn't matter what I stand for.
Oh wow.
They back me. And it was just kind of absurd to me.
When I was knocking, 15-minute came up once in a while. And I'd say people ask me online a lot, but I remember I went to one house. He opened the door and he said, 15-minute city. And I said, yes. I'm like, you live in a 15-minute city. You actually live in Dunluce, which is built as a 15-minute city. He looked at me like, oh. And then he pointed at the street light and he's like, there's a camera in there. It's watching everything we do. And I said, bro, the city can't even get out of bed in the morning, let alone put cameras in street lights.
Mhm.
Like, don't worry. But he was voting based literally on the 15-minute platform. So it's just kind of funny because it was there.
I didn't see it enough. Or I didn't see it enough that I would put it in my top 3 of issues at the door.
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
Oh right, we
Like,
have bigger fish to fry for sure. Because they've messed up the past decade.
Yeah, it did
Quite
come
a
up
lot.
once or twice, and for those instances, I just said, look, the municipalities of creation of the provincial government. If the city was pushing through something that was similar to what we've heard rumors of in the UK, where if you leave your district, you're fined, the province would clamp down on that absolutely.
Mhm.
That wouldn't happen, and that seemed to mollify them. It made them happier that they knew that there was someone holding accountability.
But that's if Danielle Smith stays in place.
Yes, I
Otherwise,
understand.
15-minute city is totally going to be a thing.
Right, and who even knows what that looks like?
Yeah.
Neither here nor there. I'm a gamer, so like when I play, here's a good one for you. It's one for a blast from the past. You get to create heaven and hell, and so you have to put the people to their reward or their punishment. The problem is, I was really good at the heaven side. People get where they need to go well, and then your avatar for the hell side is like, sir, you need to be more inefficient. People are getting to their punishment too quickly. Hell is not hellish enough. Like, I don't know how to do it.
Mhm.
Clearly, I need a city councillor
Oh,
to
yeah.
help me get, or our current city planners to help me, because boy, would it be a shit show.
I
Mhm.
don't know. Give Michael Jans a call.
Sounds like a good segue.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the platforms. So you said Michael Jans. Chris, guess what? You get to go first. So considering that everyone campaigned on some form of budget, fiscal conservatism, or not even conservatism, fiscal responsibility,
Yes.
blah, blah, blah. In front of you is the platform that I've screenshotted from his website. You've had a chance to read it. Tell me what you think.
Well, I mean, I think Michael Jans is a dirty communist hippie, generally speaking, but he didn't actually campaign on fiscal responsibility. He did claim he was going to make Edmonton more affordable, which is kind of a joke insofar as how does jacking up the people who live here's taxes every year by 7% go anywhere towards making life more affordable for people in Edmonton? Because we've had tax raises year after year after year. And all these people who talk about being worried about working families, quote unquote, seem to be wanting to make sure that the rent goes up for said working families, or the tax bill goes up for said working families. So his platform of making Edmonton more affordable seems to translate into making Edmonton less affordable. But yeah, it's festooned with more money for every government service you could imagine. And apparently he wants to make sure we have more of the drug-addled zombies roaming our downtown.
Oh,
Which
good.
they are.
Which they are.
So
Michelle,
mission accomplished, Michael Jans.
yeah, Michelle, I think you've got Karen Tang in front
I
of you.
do have Karen Tang. Most of these city councilors are just a walking contradiction. Because, for example, ease the way for businesses in Edmonton by speeding up municipal business processes, specifically in commercial permitting. All these people do, they have a hard-on for making things more bureaucratic as time goes on. So this is just hilarious to me, very contradictory to how these lefties
Almost
have
sounds
been
like word
operating.
salad as well.
It is word salad. Increase funding to the Edmonton Arts Council so that it can adequately support festivals, art, and culture organizations and artists. This in turn supports vibrancy and the local economy. So as I'm reading all of these, aside from the fact that they're grammatically horrendous,
What do you mean? Like they're
it looks like it's written by someone that may be in grade 10, grade 11. No offense. So whoever was
Shade.
writing that,
there should be a shade button.
I know.
We'll figure out the sound
Burns,
effects later because there is an effects panel, but I think I need the tap.
Yeah, I just think it's so funny. Like, oh, we're gonna uplift our thriving arts and culture scene. This is what I mean by improving what we already have. We have a huge crime issue in this city. I've never seen homelessness like this in my whole damn life. And maybe you might see a few homeless people in the downtown Chinatown area, 15, 20 years ago. Now they're everywhere in all parts of the city. So instead of focusing on real issues, affordability, not hiking up the taxes so irresponsibly, and just decreasing crime, making it safe for people to live their lives again, we're focusing on increasing funding to the Edmonton Arts Council. Like, are you guys smoking crack?
I think they get
You're
like
spitting
23.
in the face of all Edmontonians when you entertain crap like this. Hey, it's not that I'm opposed to arts and culture. I think that's an important part of society. However, when we have huge issues that are glaring in front of you in bright red lights, you need to actually focus on those issues instead of entertaining this fluffy bullshit.
Well,
Sorry,
okay.
you really feel, yeah, I know, that was a lot.
Just to circle back to Michael Jans, flipping through this, I see one amusing thing in that he wants to electrify our transit. And I mean, I'm pretty sure they tried that before, and it resulted in a bunch of buses that wouldn't operate, which is why they've now had to spend, $25 million to replace the electric buses, which won't run.
I mean, Chris, to be fair, it is quite electrified. It's just with crime.
I was going to say, what powers LRT though? Isn't it power through the rails? Isn't it electrified?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so then mission accomplished. You've done it.
Yeah.
What an idiot.
No, but Chris, that's really valid. Actually, we're spending money on buses to replace the buses that don't work, literally. And he wants to double down on that in his platform.
That's how I would interpret electrify our transit, because
Maybe it's to cut down on crime. So what he really means is like a RoboCop style electrification system.
No, they're not.
I don't
that
think
smart.
I don't think he's proposing to turn all of the buses into some kind of shock collar that's just going to shock everyone who comes into contact with Danny. I'm pretty sure what he wants is more electric buses. So we have to replace the old electric buses, which don't work, with new electric buses, hoping that this time they will work.
And fun fact, we spent 80 million on those.
Yeah.
Then we spent another 10 to do a structure. Then we spent more money to upgrade the panels there.
Well, and the green buses,
And then they're all
too,
parked.
remember?
Because that's right. The electric buses, which don't work,
They don't work.
instead of dragging them into a field somewhere and parking buses that do work in the barn, the buses that don't work are safe and cozy in the barn.
They're warm.
This
They're
is
warm.
what I mean by we're a winter city. Why are we throwing money at bike racks, bike lanes, and all of these electric vehicles that they stall in the snow in freezing temperatures? What are we doing?
That's a good question for the 30% of Edmontonians who showed up and voted for this. Jesse, though, you have Ashley Salvador.
Oh yeah. Ashley. She's east side, right? Métis ward. Okay, so stop the sprawl and stabilize the budget. Okay, well we already haven't stabilized it just based on this budget.
We worsened it by
Thanks,
a lot.
Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
We must reinvest in existing communities. Okay, we did growth, so we're not reinvesting in existing. Not endless expansion. We just expanded the bus network. to deliver services, infrastructure, and fiscal stewardship Edmontonians expect.
Wow.
I almost feel like as admin we should like quote this stuff.
Actually, I think it was there was a twist in there. So she said, "What did she say about what to expect? Fiscal management that
Fiscal
Edmontonians."
stewardship Edmontonians expect.
Well, they can expect from this council shit management, and so they're delivering on expectations.
Valid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's what she really meant.
And protect from private privatization, which I think Jance mentioned that too in his platform.
Yeah, because government funded operations always work so much better than private.
Right. Well, the other kicker here is, and I haven't gotten to mine. Mine is Ann Stevenson, but each one of these people that we're reviewing was also supported by Working Families, which is basically a talking head for the unions and was against privatization and looking into it. So of course, they're against privatization because that's the people who funded and supported them in the election. That's what they're against.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of, yeah, okay, they're on message, right? And they're on brand. Ann Stevenson, she came up with maintain budget discipline to help moderate property tax increases while protecting core services and addressing long-standing structural budget gaps. Well, one, when you say moderate property tax increases, you've already established that every year there'll be an increase, right? Right.
I feel like
that's
I'm
what
getting
that tells me.
gaslit reading all of these platforms.
And then as for moderating them, I don't know what that means, but when you say moderate property tax increases, that means you've automatically assumed every year there'll need to be an increase. Protecting core services. We talked about this in a previous episode. Every department, when asked what's a core service, came forward and said, we're a core service. So that means everyone gets more money.
Can I butt in there for a sec?
Please.
You know what was really interesting is when I was walking, I think I talked about this before, but I've been pushing this. There was like 9 people planting a tree on a boulevard, right? And I get a lot of these pictures and stuff sent to me online. So then I got city people actually messaging me saying, these are contractors of the city. And I'm like, oh, okay, so they're contracting these out to these guys. So you have 9 people planting a tree, but internally it only takes 3. So ironically, the Working Families group have elected a union-based, labor-based group who's allowing these contractors to basically take the jobs away from the city workers themselves and take 9 or so to plant the tree. It's just a really weird nuance. And I asked my councillor, she ignored me. I asked the mayor, didn't reply. So, there's like, these are where you have cost savings and opportunities, right? But it's just like they're not really exploring them.
It's probably the case that it's actually cheaper to hire 9 people in
Than
the
the
private
city.
sector than to
That
send 3
actually-
city employees out to do it.
Yeah, that's probably it, actually.
The final issue, and addressing long-standing structural budget gaps. Well, if you've never once pushed back against the budget, if you've never once asked, are we spending the right amount of money? Could we spend less money and still deliver the same level of mediocre result? Then the only way to address a structural budget gap is squeeze more money out of the voters, squeeze more money out of us.
That's what it seems.
Yeah.
Look at our sanitation system. It costs more now for the garbage man to come and get your garbage, but it's now once every 2 weeks.
So we pay more than Calgary, which
And they take less too.
And they take less. So I've heard that many people said during the election, well, we pay more than Calgary, and we only get served once every 2 weeks.
Right.
So we get half as much service. We pay twice as much.
Less than that, because again, we used to be able to chuck out like several bags.
Yeah.
Now it's just into that one container.
Yeah.
So if anything, we're getting a quarter of the service at best, and that's me being generous.
But waste did reduce our bill.
Really?
That is coming, believe it or not. However, they're also not picking up Christmas trees anymore.
Oh, I don't use real Christmas trees anyways. My cats will just chew on the tree.
But you know what
don't do that.
I find? Hey, there was a post this week where our mayor was talking about the holiday season, and a lot of people were commenting, well, you can say Christmas, Andrew, it's okay.
It's safe.
And then all of a sudden we're not picking up Christmas trees. I don't know. Is this a conspiracy?
Maybe. Yeah, we should have a conspiracy episode. I've been advocating for this for months now, before the inception of this project.
Jesse, I think Terror Ted has the answer to why they won't say Christmas and why they won't collect the Christmas trees. And in the words of Terror Ted, they're all Satanists, bro.
They're all Satanists, bro. Yeah, shout out to Terror Ted's Tales.
let's not go down that rabbit hole.
I'm gonna tag them in this.
And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I do know what to expect from this council. It's just going to be more of the same. Something, by the way, that's going to really anger, and we'll see how my councillor deals with this. So in Wedgwood, the only thing that community cared about was the affordable housing that was going to go into their park, and their park is used by Jameson Place, another neighboring neighborhood, and they all love it, and they like, we don't want this. We all use this park. There's not enough infrastructure in here. We don't want you to carve out a piece and then put in affordable housing here, which I'm sure you could argue there's some NIMBYism in there, but at the same point, how are you supposed to manage growth with the needs of the people, like, and agree and respecting, right, the neighborhoods, but dedicate land for affordable housing? Well, guess what? I think there's 9 or 12 locations the city said we're going to put affordable housing in here.
Danny, you know what's so amazing is yesterday I got a message from the HOA of Westwood they're suing the city.
Oh, what you mean,
Oh.
Wedgwood?
Yes.
Yeah, you said Westwood.
Pull up the
Wedgwood.
receipts,
Wedgwood.
Jesse.
Yeah, and they're basically saying that the OHOA is currently suing the city for redevelopment for the surplus school site.
Good for them.
They're winning. They're gonna win. They think they're gonna win the battle, but basically what they're saying is they've taken care of the park through their fees better than the city has since 2012. The city didn't do any checks on usage, like you just said. It's used, and they're basically taking away the right of the community. So interesting comment. They want me to come down there next week and do a post about it.
Oh yeah,
That's it.
Hey, I'm gonna dance about affordable housing in Wedgwood or whatever.
absolutely.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah, you said dance about affordable housing. Is that because you still have some issues with our new mayor and his dancing as a pylon?
He dances as a pylon. Erwin dances. They all dance. There's something about the
Progressive.
NDPs.
There's something about the progressive left.
Yes.
Yeah, they dance around the
They
issues.
dance on. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, nailed it.
I mean, just to go back to the everything is a core service thing. The problem with that is the city actually has 4 core services: police, fire, sewer, water, and roads. Everything else is extra. And the problem with the city council is they don't treat everything else like it is extra. They actually think everything is a core service, but it's all bells and whistles. And they don't do the core things well. Our sewer system is bad and horribly neglected, and we're just lucky it's not in as bad a shape where it's blown up like Calgary yet. But, I didn't want to jinx it, but, we're probably in danger there. If I wouldn't be surprised, because every once in a while the water runs high and suddenly you smell sewer in the West End or in the Northeast.
North side,
Yeah, it's a fairly constant issue. So it always feels like it's kind of bubbling under, just waiting to explode. And our roads are poorly maintained. And
Very much so. That should be the biggest focus here in Edmonton, aside from police. The roads.
Well, and I'm going through all the different platforms. Some of them do speak about the roads, but again, I invite our listeners to go online and look up the winners' platforms, because they still haven't taken down their websites. You can actually read what they campaigned on, and to call it light reading is pretty accurate, because holy hell, like I
It's all
thought.
superficial.
Like I thought people wanted specificity. Like, give me a platform, give me some real meat and potatoes.
No.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you how we're going to do it, and I'm going to explain why we're going to do it.
You would think so, but they're
'Cause
just
I'm not gonna
attracted to fluffy shit.
Like I built that with the expectation I'm not going to see everyone at the door, right? I'm
Of
going to
course.
knock on doors. You're home, you're not. But at least you're going to see my card. You're going to look it up, and I hope you paid attention.
Absolutely. Not only that, for transparency's sake, right? They should be able to see your platform, see your values and beliefs.
Yeah. And by the way, for our provincial episode, we're going to talk about that transparency thing, because boy, can we dig into that. But so really, we have no high expectations or high hopes that the city's going to change course.
No, I actually think that it's going to get worse. I don't think it's going to be the same as the past 10 years. I think it's going to be worse.
Tell me 1 or 2 things you think are going to be worse for you, or worse in general for us.
I think that our services will continue to diminish. And I absolutely believe that our crime will continue to go up.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, crime being driven largely by federal law, right? Like bail and whatnot.
or lack thereof.
or lack
Drugs.
thereof.
Right.
Drugs.
Drugs
I think
and
it's
homelessness.
drugs and homelessness is a big chunk of it, but also, I mean, delinquency. I mean, look at the teenagers nowadays. They're just going to West Edmonton Mall. They're like macing everyone. It's very strange. I don't know if these people, like, they came from other provinces or what, but
Third world.
I mean, yeah, and I don't want to say it, but yeah, it's true. Because, like, in the past 10 years, 15 years, do you remember all of those, like, fights happening in West Edmonton Mall, people getting maced? I don't remember.
Locking down the mall, right? Like, wasn't
right.
it was it this year or last
I
year where the
think it
mall was
was-
locked down 2 or 3
I
times?
think it was last year.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre to me that this is what our city has come to. It was never like this.
Yeah, Leanne and I, we went last week to go watch a movie at the
Mhm.
theater, and we're wandering around. We're picking up some stuff that she bought from one of those shops, and all I could think of is, I wonder if the alarm's going to go off because someone else pulled a gun or someone maced somebody. Can I expect the mall to get locked down while I'm there?
Import third world gangsters, win third world prizes.
Pretty much.
Somebody actually told me when I was in Greece Spa knocking, he works at the jail north of Edmonton, and I'm just repeating what he's saying, okay? But he did say the jail is essentially 95% immigration right now.
That doesn't surprise me.
So and you hear about people coming and they have
Yeah.
criminal records and things like that, and some loose policies, which I think why last week at the AGM they talked about some immigration policy, right?
Absolutely. And before any of the viewers come for their jugulars, yeah, sure, they're white, but I am part Arab. I am allowed to speak on these issues. But the thing is that when my parents immigrated to Canada and had me, they had to jump through so many hoops. Now they let in everyone. They don't do proper checks on their criminal history, but also they don't check how can they contribute to this society. Are they going to be leeches? Do they speak English? Do they have similar values? We're not checking anything. It's so stupid. You can't do that. You're shooting yourself in the foot. It's important to maintain order. And in order to do that, you need people on the same page. And you need people that actually respect your culture and they respect the country. We've just lost our way.
Well, there was a story like a week ago saying that it was the head of the Customs and Immigration Officer Union saying that security screening on people coming into Canada was being done on the honor system.
That's
I mean,
right.
which is the most absurd way to do anything.
So you're
Would you
self-reporting.
like to tell us you're a criminal or a
Are you a
gangster?
terrorist?
Are you
No.
a terrorist? Would you please tell us?
Yeah.
I mean, you're basically assuming that a criminal or a terrorist or someone like that is too stupid to realize that the correct answer to that question is no.
Not even too stupid. They're going to be so truthful. I'm sure that they're definitely going to confess that they're a terrorist or a criminal.
So to Daniel's point though, like first off, it's sad that you have to think about that when you're at the mall. But really, is the answer more police or is the answer above the city, right? It is really outside the city.
I think it's both.
I think there's parts that the provincial and federal government need to play. Like the federal government needs to revoke the Trudeau era bail reforms, and they've proposed some legislation that's whatever. I guess it's maybe doing something, but it's not enough. Just go back to what worked before, right? Don't reinvent the wheel. What was working before, go back to it. Yes, it was conservative policy, but who cares, right? I don't know if the sunk cost fallacy though fits into it. So they've done so much that they can't.
That's right.
They can't directly go back. They have to kind of meander back to it so that when no one's paying attention, they go back to it.
That's what they're starting to do with a lot of their policies.
Yeah.
They're kind of gaslighting us now.
That's what I think. So then provincially because provincially homelessness, addiction, etc., those are provincial responsibilities, not municipal responsibilities. So it's working with the province to make that work. By the way, some of the platforms looking into it, even these winners said, oh, we gotta partner and collaborate with the province. So during their campaigns, they even say, we got to work with the province, as opposed to the last 4 years where they took shots at the province. I don't know if the next 4 years are going to do the same. I guess we can watch.
We're just going to have to wait and see, because I always take every single word they say with a grain of salt. You can't really trust them when they've butchered this city for the past decade.
But in summary, to answer your question, Jesse, the city police force needs to enforce the laws and show there's consequences, The province needs to set up supports and maintain and watch them, with partnering with the city of getting those people who are vulnerable off the streets so they're not preyed upon by gangs. And then the federal government needs to make it easier for the justice system to keep dangerous offenders behind bars, not allow them out on bail so they can re-offend and re-victimize the public.
Correct.
So if all three levels of government were on board with this is how we're going to do it and just do it, I think the city would be much better. The problem is, I don't know if there's too much ideology in the way, because we have a conservative provincial government, we have a very left-wing progressive city council, and of course a liberal federal government where most of their MPs are progressive, and I'm not really sure about their leadership because it kind of seems like they waffle. It's like at times they're conservative light. We can talk more about that during the federal
So maybe
episode.
what we can do is leave this one on an image for everybody. I implore everybody to go and check Andrew Knack's meeting with Danielle Smith. So she came this week. But the picture Smith put on her page versus what Knack put on his. So hers was them shaking their hands. The farthest apart you can possibly be is humans.
Yeah, it was right over
It was reaching.
Yeah.
It was so funny. It was like it showed like left and right, polar opposite. But then his picture was them cozied up side by side. And so I think, talking about relationships, I think Smith's picture was like the kind of where it's at, and it's going to be interesting to see, how the next 4 years go with those two.
Right, because his picture was them being close, but very much arms crossed.
It's symbolic.
So not touching,
Yes.
and then when they are touching, they're trying to keep as much distance as possible.
Literally, it is the most symbolic photo I've ever seen.
Daniel
would you
Smith
want to
was
really get
social
that close to him?
distancing from that.
Yeah.
Social distancing.
I'm surprised he wasn't wearing a mask.
Oh,
Oh.
my God.
Okay, anyways, we'll end that.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he might have been wearing one of those Kiefas, considering he was out there like talking about, the poor Palestinians, as though the mayor of Edmonton has anything to do with that. I mean, the fact that you have city councillors and mayors trying to have a foreign policy is the most bizarre and silly thing I've ever seen.
It's definitely ideology.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, we have nothing more to add to our municipal episode, so we hope you enjoy it. Again, like, subscribe, comment, let us know what you want us to unleash on next. I'm Danny Hakinen,
Jesse Watson.
Michelle Badalek.
Chris Battlewick.
and thank you for tuning in.